Hi, I'm Andrew Totolis. Welcome to Tricked Out. On this show, we take some of the most popular modifications in the sport compact world and show you what it takes to do it yourself. Today, we're working with a 1991 Honda Accord. Now, this ride has seen about every mod imaginable, and the owner has done a great job of putting it together himself. But we've got something in store that's really going to light him up. The thing is, as cool as this car looks driving around town during the day, when the sun goes down and the headlights come on, they just don't seem to match the intensity of this killer ride. But we're going to take care of that with an HID conversion kit for the headlights and LED bulbs for the taillights. On a scale of 1 to 5, today's lighting project rates a 3 on our intermediate scale. You have to know how to use a power drill and make a few simple electrical connections. But if you're cool with that, you should have no problem with any of today's upgrades. Now, before we get started, let's take a closer look at the project car. This 1993 Honda Accord belongs to Spunky Patterson. Spunky's love of the unique has gotten him a long way. The car shines with a hot body kit and Predator hood, all dipped in custom bright white paint mixed with over a pound of blue pearl. The adjustable shocks keep this Accord down in the weeds, while the big blue fog lights point the way on dark nights. Under the hood, engine mods include a chrome air intake and high-pressure fuel system feeding a shaved, ported, and polished head. The interior is the true attention grabber, with its white flame inlays on the headliner and doors. After all of this hard work, Spunky can rest easy rocking out to his favorite CDs with the big box in the trunk. It's a fine ride indeed, but no car is truly complete until it's been tricked out. Headlights have come a long way in the last few years. Your standard automotive headlight works just like a light bulb in your house. It's got a filament. A lot of voltage passes through a small wire, and that wire heats up, producing light. Well, that's how it was until someone had the bright idea of coming up with a 12-volt automotive high-intensity discharge bulb. Now, for the first time in automotive history, the filament is gone. And instead, it's been replaced with 2 tiny electrodes in a high-pressure, gas-filled glass bulb. Now, the electrodes don't touch, but high voltage arcs between the 2 electrodes, igniting gas inside the bulb and producing light. That rules. But what does it mean? Well, it means that it's brighter, it produces better light, and it lasts longer. Check this out. Here's your standard halogen bulb. Pretty exciting. It's doing its job. But now check this out. This is your high-intensity bulb. Look at the range I'm getting on this thing. Not only is it super cool, but the color of this light actually is closer to actual daylight, which is what you're looking for when you're driving at night. Here's what you're going to need to update your car. You'll need an HID headlight kit, which will come with all of the electronics, the mounting hardware, and 2 high-intensity discharge bulbs. Plus relays to step up the current of your existing system. Depending on your application, you may also need crimpers, connectors, and wires to set up the new lights. And everybody will need a drill, drill bits and a marker, some clamps and wood to hold the pieces for drilling, and your regular shop tools to get the job done. Now, don't forget, safety goggles and gloves are a necessity for dealing with high-pressure bulbs. You can find a complete list of materials and tools you're going to need on DIYnetwork.com. Anytime you make any kind of modifications to your car, you want to make sure that what you plan on doing is in compliance with the law in your area. HID light system is going to make your car stand out, and you want to make sure that that's the kind of attention that you want. All right, here's our system. It consists of 4 components. We have a ballast, an igniter, the bulb, and the relay. Now, the ballast is a transformer, and what it does is it takes the 12 volts from your car and turns it into a whopping 23,000 volt output, which is needed to bridge the gap between the 2 electrodes. The igniter takes that high voltage and kickstarts the bulb. The relay allows us to run the lights directly off the battery and still use the existing light switch in the car. These bulbs come in all different sizes, so when you order them, make sure that you have the right ones for your car. An HID system is meant to be used as your main light or your low beams and work with your existing high beams. If you're not comfortable using HIDs all the time, you can pick up some auxiliary HIDs which don't interfere with your headlights and still give you that cool HID look. All right, our first step, get these bulbs in. In the Accord, it's best to make some room behind the driver's headlight assembly by removing the windshield washer reservoir. Just remove this mounting bolt and the reservoir will pull right out. Twist off the bulb cover and disconnect the negative wire. Then, Loosen the contact screw that completes the circuit between the headlight housing and the bulb base. Pull back the bulb retaining wire and remove the existing bulb. Then remove the contact screw from the housing. The power connections that we removed from this halogen lamp run at 12 volts, so we can't use them in our new HID system, but they're still important. What we're going to do is run wires from those connections through this dust cover to the relay, so when we hit our headlight switch in the car, the relay sees that signal and starts the new bulbs. We also need to get power from the igniter back to the bulbs, which will also run through this dust cover. Take the dust cover to a bench and clamp it down. Then mark the center of the cover with a permanent marker and drill out the hole with a 25mm hole saw. The new bulbs come with wiring and grommet attached, so just push them into the new hole from the inside until the grommet pops into place. Back at the car, slide the new bulb into the housing and attach the eyelet connector to the screw that contacted the original bulb's base. Then, attach the spade connector to the negative wire in the housing. With the HID bulb installed and the housing connections complete, screw the dust cover back into place. The other light goes on the same way, except on this side we have to remove the battery, just like we removed the windshield washer filler tube on the other side. Welcome back to Tricked Out. Today we're adding a high-tech lighting system to a 91 Accord. Now we're right in the middle of our upgrade, and we've already installed the light bulbs, but before we light them up, there's a few more things we need to do. In order for our HID system to work, we need to find a place to mount our new electronics. The kit comes with a mounting bracket for the ballast, the igniter, and the relay has a mounting hole on top, so the install is a snap. Our kit came with separate mounting brackets for the ballast and igniter, but we're going to bolt the brackets together for a clean installation in the Accord. Mark through the igniter bracket mounting hole with a permanent marker. Then, clamp the ballast bracket to a scrap piece of wood and dimple the mark with a center punch. Drill the hole out with a 1/4-inch drill bit and bolt the brackets together. The ballast attaches to the mounting bracket with double-sided tape and then is permanently secured with a wire tie. Do the same thing with the igniter. And don't forget, trim the wire ties for a neat appearance before taking the HID electronics to the car. On the driver's side of the Accord, the ballast and igniter assembly can mount on the radiator support just above the bulbs. Use the bracket assembly as a template to mark the mounting holes, then dimple the marks with a center punch. Drill a small pilot hole and then use the screw provided to attach the HID electronics assembly. The relay can be mounted to an existing bolt. We found a grounding bolt that can double as both a mounting point and a ground point for the relay harness. On the passenger side, the electronics assembly and the relay both bolt onto the fender side of the engine bay. Connect the wiring harness following the instructions provided with your kit. The wires from the headlight housing connect to the relay, and the second set of wires are attached to the plugs on the igniter output. There's a connection to make between the igniter and the ballast output, and a connection between the ballast and the relay. Leave enough slack for the fused lead to reach the positive terminal on the battery, and use wire ties to secure all of the new wiring away from high heat and moving parts. Repeat the wiring process for the driver's side bulb. Then, the windshield reservoir and battery that were removed earlier can be returned to their original positions. Finally, connect the fused leads directly to the positive terminal on the battery. Then, reattach the negative battery cable and the HID light should be ready to fire. All right, our HID upgrade is complete. But before I show you what this thing looks like, I want you to keep a couple things in mind. First, when the lights are on, don't stare at them. Because they're arc lights, they fall in the same category as a welding arc or the sun, so just glance and look away. Second, because these lights eat up a lot of juice, you don't want them on when the car is not running. So start the car before you turn them on, all right? Let's check it out. That rules. Stick around, we got a lot more in store for this Accord. You're watching Tricked Out. I'm Andrew Totolis. If you're just joining us, we've been putting the heat to a 91 Accord with a high-tech lighting package that is sure to turn some heads. So far, we changed out the old halogen bulbs with some high-intensity discharge lamps, installed the ballasts and igniters for each bulb, and put in a relay that's going to let us control our lights from the original switch. Now, if you put one of these systems in your car, make sure to aim it correctly. Because these lights are so bright and focused, you really want to make sure that they're not focused into oncoming traffic. That would stink. Choose a location on level ground in front of a blank wall or a garage door and position the vehicle so it's perpendicular to the wall and about 25 feet back. A laser pointing tool can help you align the car and mark the tire locations on the wall for reference. Measure and mark the distance from the center of one headlight to the center of the other, and also measure the distance from the center of each headlight to the ground. Use electrical tape to mark the center line between the tire marks, and then measure half the distance between the headlights on either side of center, and mark a tall vertical line for each headlight. Mark those lines at the distance you measured between the headlights and the ground on the car, and run a horizontal line across the marks. Turn the headlights on low and see how it looks. For a car with halogen bulbs, you would want the beams to be centered on the crossbars. But since these HIDs are so powerful, we're going to shoot for just below the mark. If they need to be adjusted, open the hood and locate the vertical and horizontal adjustment screws on the headlight housings. Adjust the lights until they line up correctly, and you're good to go. This method will give you an approximate adjustment, but if you want to get really precise, take it to an auto service center. Now, whether or not you're going to put an HID system in your car, you can go to DIYnetwork.com and download the guide we use to aim our lights. You'll find that and information about all the projects we do here on Tricked Out. Now, here's a little bonus for you. Check out some of these products. If you think those lights are cool, then check out the SEMA show that's held in Las Vegas every year. It's where the automotive aftermarket cuts loose with the latest parts and accessories. It's like a toy store for your sport compact. The show offers multitudes of products that allow you to upgrade your older car with the latest in automotive technology, just like we're doing with our Accord. Our friends at AudioVox feature many innovative products, like a full line of navigation systems. They'll get you where you're going without all the hassle of calling for directions. And most of them will even look up points of interest and guide you right to the nearest gas station, ATM, or movie theater. Since the systems are designed to be added to the car you already own, installation is a snap.
If you're familiar, have some electronic 12-volt experience, you're not going to have a lot of problems. If you ever put in a car stereo, you'd be able to put this in.
There are a variety of screens and price points to choose from. If you want a dash-mounted model or in-dash model with a retractable screen, these guys got it. They also have low-profile versions that fit right over your existing rearview mirror to keep theft risk low. But whichever style you choose, a navigation system in your ride is going to keep you headed down the right track. Now, while you're out there running the roads with your new navigation system, you gotta have some rockin' tunes. AudioVox offers a Sirius-compatible satellite radio system that picks up over 120 channels of music, entertainment, news, and sports and puts them right where you want them. The system moves from your car to your home or to anywhere with the optional portable boombox and is designed with easy installation in mind.
Out of the box is a do-it-yourself installation. Cuts down on the need to go to your local mom-and-pop car audio store and have your unit installed professionally.
In addition to the great sound and variety offered by satellite radio, these units have some user-friendly features that your AM/FM tuner never dreamed of. For instance, you'll never change stations just to catch the end of your favorite song again, because this radio learns which songs you like and lets you know when one of your songs comes up on another channel. You can also search through the channels by artist, song title, or album, so it's easy to find what you're looking for. With these great products, you can add updated techno style to any car. That's some pretty cool stuff. Well, we're in the home stretch with our Accord here, but we still have some LED taillights to install. So stick around. Tricked Out is back after this. I'm talking. Welcome back. We've been having a blast illuminating a Honda Accord with some HID headlights. But before we see how the new headlights compare, let's give a little love to the taillights. LEDs, light-emitting diodes. These are those little indicator lights that you see everywhere in the world. They're usually a light telling you to stop doing something, or a battery needs to be charged or something like that. In fact, I have a few right here on my battery charger right here. They're all indicator lights. But The new LEDs, like the ones found in these brake lights, are about 10 to 20 times brighter than the first generation. They use less electricity than conventional bulbs, and they last forever. But the cool thing is, when you change your brake lights out with LED lights, the time between when you hit the brake and your brake light is at its full brightness is much less, about 1/5 of a second less. I know you're thinking 1/5 of a second, big deal. Listen, a car going 60 miles an hour travels about 18 feet in 1/5 of a second. So by changing out your brake lights to LED lights, you're buying yourself 18 feet between you and the guy behind you. It's a pretty good deal. Now, you could pick up these lights from most cars, and they're really easy to change. If you can change a light bulb, you can do it. Our Accord taillight bulbs are easily accessible. Lift the 2 tabs that secure the taillight cover. After removing the cover, unscrew the wiring harness and pull it free from the housing. Push gently on the light bulb and turn it counterclockwise to release it from the socket. Spray the inside of the housing with a contact cleaner. The LED bulb goes in just like the old bulb came out. Push gently until you feel it bottom out, then turn the bulb clockwise in the socket to lock it into place. Replace the bulb assembly in the housing and reinstall the cover. Then, repeat the procedure with the passenger side bulb. If a bulb breaks or comes loose from the base, use needle nose pliers to grip the base and use the same push and turn motion to remove it. Our Accord has another set of taillights in the trunk lid that are replaced in the same way. And the high mount taillight bulb is accessed through the trunk as well. And with the HIDs in front, this thing is going to look really smooth cruising around at night. It's amazing that this kind of change can happen with a little bit of knowledge and some well-designed parts. Let's take a look at the cost of today's project. The HID system for our H3 bulb-equipped Honda Accord runs about $450. We spent $60 for 6 LED taillight bulbs. And we needed a hole saw to drill out the dust caps for the HID lights, which cost about $5. The total cost for today's project is just over $500. We spent some money on our lighting upgrade today, but by installing the parts ourselves, we saved about $150. And we got a great example of what you can do when you do it yourself. Now, there's one more thing to do before we close up the shop today, and let's take a look at the results. Before our mods, this Accord was hot. But at night, the halogen headlights, even with the projector lenses, lacked some With the old headlights on low, you could barely even see the road, and that was just dangerous. Now, with the properly aligned HIDs blasting down the road, riding in this Honda at night feels like riding in a rocket ship. There's also a big difference in the taillights. The old bulbs served their purpose, but they did not put out the pop that the LEDs provide. The LED brake lights are much brighter, and the high-tech quickness looks sweet. Don't forget, you can go to DIYnetwork.com to download our headlight aiming chart and get any information you need about today's project. So, not too shabby for a few hours worth of install time. For all of us here at Tricked Out, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.